Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike Piowarski. I come to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. 2A views, conservative news. Craig, do you know what today is?
It's Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a treat.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. But you gotta love it. You gotta love Taco Tuesday. You gotta love the Taco Tuesday theme. With that, Mike, any special theme to your tacos today?
Ooh, I'm going to go with something with a cerveza.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. We're actually, it's kind of funny. We're going a little bit different. We're not going necessarily Mexican taco. So we're going to do some tiki masala, and then we're going to do it with naan, and then we're going to actually put it in the naan, which is bread, and we're going to have more like an Indian taco.
You mean a falafel?
Whatever.
You're going to have a gyro.
A gyro. There you go. Yeah, no,
just hold it like a taco, though, and you'll be all right. Yeah,
exactly. So that's the point. As long as you hold it like a taco, it is officially a taco.
Right. Yeah, don't wrap it all the way. Keep it open at the top. It'll be just like a soft bread shell taco.
Exactly, and you've got to have various different things in it, and you got to hold it. You kind of turn your head slightly, like.
There you go. Perfect. That'll work.
That'll work.
You're granted this exception. Yes.
Oh, good stuff. Hey, why don't we go ahead and before we get into the program, why don't we go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Yeah, also some great taco lovers. Let's talk about Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you've got an AR in the past 5 years or so, you probably already have one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can go buy direct from them. Get you a barrel for your next build or replace the one you have in your AR today. hitmanindustries.net. Let's say hello to our good friends at the California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind the enemy lines. Make sure you reach out to them and assist in any way you can. And if you're looking for some awesome combat gear, some awesome tactical gear, then go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Excuse me. These are the folks who bring us to you in hopes that we will bring you to them. So do us a favor, visit them, follow the links in the description of this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, spend a little money, and make sure you tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. Also, if you haven't done so, and I know I say this every time, but I know that some of you haven't done so, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. In particular, make sure you subscribe, because we all know the algorithms are not on our side. They do not like people who talk about conservative stuff. And they definitely don't like people who talk about guns. So in many cases, the only reason that people are going to know that we exist is because you share us. So pass us around.
Sharing is caring.
Sharon, you say Sharon is Karen? Did you just call our audience a bunch of Karens?
Caring, sharing is caring.
We must work on your enunciation.
I think it's just because you're in California. You got the smog in your ears.
Look, Karen and caring are the same thing in California. You're Karen because you care.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, bad stuff. All right, let's get into today's news. This whole BIPOC thing, people of color thing, where they're trying to make it like all people of color are all supposed to be together and be one and be in the liberal left-wing camp and all work together and row together in order to make the country great. Well, we discover that many in the leadership, or at least some in the leadership, they don't feel that way. In particular, in this leadership in the city of Los Angeles. caught on a hot mic, which California Democrats seem to be really good at getting caught on hot mics. The president of the LA City Council, her name is Nuri Martinez, was caught on a hot mic, basically making some very, very racist remarks about, of all people, a young black child who was adopted by a white city councilman. And so anyway, but her and several other folks were commenting on that as well as various other items regarding to, in many cases, politics there in the city of Los Angeles. She referred to this young boy as an accessory for the city councilman and compared him to, basically called him a little monkey in Spanish. They also in many cases, and there were several folks who were involved in this meeting, were talking about basically and strategizing how the Latino leaders, or how they could wrest away control there in the city of Los Angeles from African Americans. So how they could basically disenfranchise the black leaders so that they could take greater control of what was going on there in the city of Los Angeles.
Craig, so the woman that made these comments, she's Hispanic, and she made them in Spanish?
Some in Spanish, some in English.
Oh, okay.
Spanglish,
Okay.
basically.
I got it. Okay. I thought, listen, I don't know the rule, but I thought minorities were allowed to make racist comments against other minorities. Is that not true?
Well, I thought that unless you were in a position of authority, unless you were part of a group that was historically empowered, basically, unless you were white, then you couldn't be racist. That's what they say.
Yeah, only white people can be racist. That's my point. Yeah, I thought
only white people can be racist, I believe, is the point.
Yeah, so I don't. Maybe they're so. I don't listen. I don't know what the population makeup of Los Angeles is, but it would seem like the whites would still be the racists. I don't think. Did they change when they come across the California border? I don't know. Does the California Department of Justice have a rule book they hand out? I'm not sure, but. Craig, you tell me, how big of an issue is this out there? No, this actual specific incidents, because I know back east here, we'll see once a month, twice a month, call for the resignation of so-and-so in California. It just seems like, that's the first response out there. It's like councilman, would you like some cream in your coffee? Oh, I have to resign now. You said cream in your coffee.
Well, now here's the thing though. Keep in mind that this just foments a battle that everyone knows is going on. And that is, the fight within the Democratic Party for most favored minority status between the Latino community and the black community. The fact is there has been no more faithful vote for the Democratic Party than black folks, and it's been demonstrated that when black people don't show up, Democrats lose. Now, having said that, the probably the fastest growing group is the Latino community. Now, the challenge they're having is that they're pretty much split 50-50 now between Republicans and Democrats. Now, in California, it's probably more Democrat leaning, but it's getting to be pretty split, meaning that they can't necessarily afford to lose support of Latinos either. So it's a big deal because, whoever comes out on top on something like this is going to be the one who's going to gain some more favor or control within the California Democratic Party. I mean, now black people have critical race theory going for us, but so we've got that whole dynamic that is now being instituted. And oh, by the way, on the chart of intersectionalism, being black is more oppressed than Latino. Once again, if you go according to the critical race theory. Critical race theory hierarchy of intersectionality. Now, if you are gay, female, disabled, black person who's colorblind, you're there near the top of the scale. Which I don't believe any of those are included or were referred to in this particular incident.
See, that's the Trump card, right? You could be racist to whoever you want. Then,
well. Literally, it's a Trump card because Trump can be racist to anybody because guess what? I'm not saying Trump is racist. I'm just saying that no matter what he says or does, you're going to call him racist. So
I don't want to go too far off on Trump, but Possibility of nuclear Armageddon from a senile old man. Mean tweets. Which would you rather have?
I vote for mean tweets.
I'll take the mean tweets. Craig, looking at the composition of Los Angeles out there is just over 50% white, about 9% African American, Asian 13%, and then some smaller stuff out there. The Hispanic culture is non-Hispanic whites are 28%, and Hispanic residents are 48%. So you're looking at the difference of Hispanic population of being 48% and the African American population about 9%. So you could see where the numbers lie out there when you see the seriousness of it. You could tell that. Listen, the African Americans are in the minority there, but they have the Hispanics, which are even more powerful out there, or even more popular out there than populous out there than just plain old angry racist white guys. So they're I would understand they're being upset because the majority people of living in that city are Hispanic, and there you go. Just another somebody else trying to oppress the brother, man.
I know, but once again, the thing that gets me is that this is the way these folks talk all the time, and I will tell you what, I 100% confident that the black leaders in that community, that there among them are many who speak the exact same way when referring to Latinos. Because I'm sorry, I've dealt with enough.
I agree with you. Yeah,
enough, I've some of these folks have been in the California legislature. I know of them. I know of the people that have worked with them, and I feel pretty comfortable in saying that. In the end, the president of the council resigned as president of the council, but not as a council member. So she'll still be getting her salary. She'll still be there on the city council, and eventually it will all blow over, and no one will think twice about it. Especially the political leaders won't say anything because they'll get bought off, however you want to call it.
That's the way politics works. So
that is the way it is. C'est la vie. Moving right along. Now, Mike, you do know that there has been no election fraud, right? You do know
Correct.
that everything that happened with the 2020 election was above board. And if you dare claim that anything went wrong with the 2020 election or that there were any issues, that makes you a racist, and it makes you dangerous to this country. You do understand this, right? You are dangerous to this country and should be put on a list and have the FBI come raid your home. You do know this, right?
You're referring to erection flawed. Yes.
Erection flawed. Yes.
Yes.
There is no erection flawed, according to the mainstream media, except unless, of course, you read the Associated Press, which recognized that 30,000 non-citizens, and I'm sorry, I need to correct because I put in the thing illegals, but these are non-citizens, right? I put in the title, it says illegals get voter reg mailer. It's non-citizens, meaning some of them may be people who are allowed to be here, but these are people who are clearly not supposed to be voting in our elections. 30,000 of them received a voter registration mailer basically telling them, hey, election's coming up, it's time to vote, make sure you get registered. Now, Think about this. You're new to the country. You don't know exactly how all the laws work, election laws work, but you get a mailer from the Secretary of State or from your county voter registrar's office. The official government sends you a thing saying, hey, you need to get registered to vote. How many of those folks do you think are going to say, oh, well, I must be able to vote, and then register?
The majority of them, I would think. Listen, the same thing happened in Florida. They said they tried to go after people for voting illegally. They said, you mailed me the ballot. Isn't that your job to check? You've got my address. You know who I am. I have a driver's license. That's why you're sending me this. But yeah, this is again, Craig, we're not talking about erection flawed, but 30,000 votes. Although in the state of Colorado that wasn't enough to make the difference. 30,000 votes was clearly enough to make a difference in many of the key battleground states that would have turned the election. So this is a big problem.
Well,
and here we are, Craig. There's no issue, right? We know that there's no issue, but again, like you said, another exposure of another 30,000 votes that just went. Where'd they go? I don't know.
Well, and you had tens of thousands of people who were registered to vote who through California's motor voter law. I mean, Mike, the thing is, in without speaking specifically to 2020, the thing is that there are tons of areas where election law, where there are problems with elections and the way they've been run. 2020 exacerbated it because you then all of a sudden, because of COVID, without a lot of forethought, just changed the way hundreds of millions of people were voting and how elections were run in many, many key states. And we've seen the problems related to it. Now, we're supposed to ignore the problems because if you bring anything up, that makes you, an erection denier. Okay.
That's right.
But, but I'm like, when the Associated Press is reporting on these problems and these issues, what are we supposed to do? I mean, what are we supposed to be, we're supposed to be silent about it and act as if this stuff isn't happening and it has no impact on the erection?
Well, you know the issue, Craig, is we can talk about it at the water cooler if you want, but you can't talk about it here on any of these platforms you and I are on because Big Brother will come down and stomp it down. I do want to point out that again, now AP running this story. We talked yesterday about cracks in the liberal media, right? Mm-hmm. Here's another one. There's another one coming through. Somebody else saying, okay, we're not saying that this really happened, but we're saying here's some facts that really should be known.
So that they can get away with saying, well, we reported on it, but you completely ignored the impact that it had on the outcome of the erection.
Yep.
I think I said erection like 10 times in the last 3 minutes. But folks, by the way, just so you know that, we're dealing with the algorithms. Don't tell the algorithms what we're really talking about. But
Yeah. Yeah. Do the math. Work the puzzle. Erection. Flawed. Erection flawed. Yep. Erection flawed.
Yeah. Those of you who watch the program get it. Those of you who don't need to watch more.
Yep. And we're not talking about like Peronis or anything like that either.
No, we are not. We most definitely are not. All right. This was an interesting one that Mike picked out. So basically, this guy is working with police, right? So he's an informant with the police. And turns out, he's a snitch. Yes, he's a snitch for the New Jersey police, right? And turns out the people that he was snitching on found out about it. And he winds up getting beat up and shot at. And so he gets a gun to protect himself. And somehow, I guess he gets arrested or something like that. Anyway, he winds up getting arrested and charged with a gun charge and convicted. Well, an appeals court judge said, wait a minute, hold on. So the police refused to protect you. Told the police about all this. They refused to protect you, right? So they're not protecting you, even though you worked with them and you informed on people. In other words, they would not defend you. So you have a right to defend yourself. And I guess the lower court wouldn't allow him to argue that the reason why he was in possession of a firearm, and those of you who know New Jersey know that it's almost impossible. It takes a long time to get a weapons permit to be able to just own a gun, let alone a concealed carry permit. But anyway, the court basically said, he ought to be able to argue that the police were not doing their job and protecting him. So therefore, he had a right to defend himself. I think this is, first of all, it's kind of monumental. This is a big deal for a New Jersey court to rule this, New Jersey state court to rule this. But I think this also speaks to the fundamental understanding that we now have that law enforcement does not have an obligation to protect you from harm.
Right, and we know that from many cases before. But Craig, you're right. This guy's what is it? Confidential informant. He's a snitch, right? He's a snitch, and 21 years old. from reading the story, he looks like he may have even had some charges pending against him, and this what he was doing with the police, maybe he was helping work some charges off. He wore a wire on some bad guys, and they found out, I guess, that he wore the wire later on, and they came after him. Well, Greg, they were trying to give the snitch some stitches because snitches get stitches. We know that from what Peyton Manning told us. But yes, so they go after this guy. They shoot at him. He gets beat up a couple of times, and he asked the police, just like you said, please, I want to protect myself. What can we do? Can you protect me? And they said no. He said, can I move away? And they go, no, because of that other case you got to stay here. You can't leave. So he started to carry a firearm that he got. He purchased a firearm, and now I don't know if he purchased it legally or not, because remember, we don't know what he was charged with or if he was convicted, so we have no idea. And I would bet that he's not been convicted of anything that's a barring offense. Otherwise,
it was a marijuana charge.
Okay, so a marijuana charge, unless it's a violent felony marijuana charge, which I don't know, that's not going to bar him from owning a firearm later on or purchasing a firearm later on. So he starts to carry a gun. He gets stopped on a car stop. He's a passenger in a car. His attorney fought for two things: one, that the stop was illegal, and two, that the previous court, the lower court, did not allow him to claim, self-defense reason, imminent threat, right? And the judge said, no, the stop was lawful. That's fine. But then they said, like you said, Craig, no, this is a valid defense, and you failed to let him do this. So if this stands, Craig, this opens the door there in the state of New Jersey for I'm an imminent threat. I'm going to carry a firearm. Now that won't give you everyday rights to carry a firearm like you would normally everyday carry, but those that get into tense situations and can articulate imminent threats would seem like that law has been made null and void there in the state of New Jersey now.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily been made null and void. What it's opened the door is to allow them to argue it, right? You can at least offer that as a defense in court. And, proof, because there are a number of, and, you and I have talked with, we know Alex Rubin there, who runs NJ2A, the Jersey Second Amendment Society or Association.
Yep.
But I mean, he's talked to us about numerous incidents where individuals have been trying to get not even a permit to carry, just to have a gun, and have been delayed for years. And there was one instance where a woman was basically, she was her I don't know if it was her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend. Basically, she was killed by her ex-husband or her ex-boyfriend, waiting to get approved for a handgun permit there in New Jersey.
Yes. Her name escapes me at the moment. We'll get it before the end of the show. We'll get the interns on it. But yeah, this happens again all the time. And Craig, I'm not saying that this law would currently be out now, but if you have a judge saying that you can't deny him the right to do this or claim it as a defense, I think that goes towards saying that's a legal thing to do. If not a legal defense to claim, it still has to work its way up through their state Supreme Court. With that before anything happens. But it's a step in the very strange direction, like you said, for a judge in New Jersey.
Yes, definitely different for New Jersey. All right, next we have taking up the fight in Virginia. Virginia, it's kind of funny because I used to always think of Virginia as, the South, as a place where, guns were a good thing, right? Where people valued the Second Amendment. And then largely because of all of the politicos who work in D.C. but live in Virginia, we saw a massive change or tilt there in Virginia from blue to then purple to then red. From red to then purple to then blue. And now it's tilted back because with the new Supreme Court, we're now seeing a number of, in 2020 or 2018, we saw a number of gun laws that were passed there in Virginia against the will and against the desire of many who live in Virginia, Well, now there is an organization that is basically going to be taking on many of those laws and challenging them based on the changes in the Supreme Court, and it's actually just being written upon by the daily press there. And Mike, you know, a lot of these things, a lot of people already knew that a lot of these laws were going to be challenged, but it's nice to see the folks there at the Virginia Citizens Defense League willing to step up and lead the fight to battle for the Second Amendment rights for the folks there in Virginia.
Yes, Phil Van Cleve and his people there at VCDL. You know, they're the ones that brought you the march on the Capitol. Remember when they brought they could not have firearms inside the exclusionary zone, so they brought a guillotine instead.
Yes.
Yeah. They know how to play. They know how to play ball. Phil's been a leader in the Second Amendment advocacy and the advocacy groups for many years and leading the folks up there in Virginia. So great to see that they're going after some of these ridiculous laws. Like you can only buy like one gun a month. Don't these people understand what an addiction is, Craig? Don't they understand it? I can't just have one a month. Can't have one.
That they probably got that from California.
I know you're allowed to look at a picture of a gun once a month. Isn't that right in California?
It's a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
It's a
what
misdemeanor
if the
to look at.
state?
If I look at more than one in a month, then it's a misdemeanor. In fact, I have to sneak out of California to go to SHOT Show every year.
There you go. Very true. Very true. Yeah. So this is good news out of Virginia, and we know, you know, as we said, we talked about yesterday, we're seeing cases more and more applying the two-pronged test under the Bruin rule for plain text and historical context. So this is good news for Virginia and good news for citizens everywhere.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And once again, you're going to see it. It's already happening in California. It's happening in Washington. It's happening in Oregon. You're starting to see, you're going to start to see a number of these anti-gun laws fail, which is why, like we talked about, yesterday, which is why places like CNN are now recognizing exactly what's going on here. Exactly that people's right to keep and bear arms is now all of a sudden going to be I don't want to say expanded. It's actually going to be enforced. Put it that way.
Yes, there you go.
All right. Let's move on to our parting shots for the day. You know, there's something that has been drastically, think about what was the big thing that was in the media. We saw it all the time. First there was COVID, and then there was this. And all of a sudden, we're not hearing about it anymore. All of a sudden, it was spreading like wildfire, and we need to have a national emergency on it. And oh my God, someone actually died from it. And now all of a sudden, go ahead.
I was thinking Bigfoot, but I don't remember him dying from anybody dying from Bigfoot.
No one died from Bigfoot. But what the hell happened to monkeypox?
Yeah.
Where did monkeypox go?
We're too close to the election to be dealing with monkeypox, Craig. We're too close to the election.
We're too close to the election to deal with monkeypox. Because they were like, it was the second coming, right? It was like the next big pandemic. All of us were going to catch monkeypox, and all of a sudden, no one's talking about it.
Yeah,
unless you find somebody,
unless you find monkeypox at Mar-a-Lago, nobody's talking about it.
There you go. And by the way, if you ask anybody about it, you won't get a straight answer. And this one is, as we know, the state of California, for the second year in a row, has actually seen a decrease in the number of residents of the state of California, more people leaving than entering, which, by the way, that includes like entering through birth, as well as through illegal immigration. If you took out those two, it would be several more years where we have decreased in population. Which brings up this one. They said California is the place we gotta flee, so they loaded up the truck and they moved back to Tennessee.
Oh, I love it.
The Beverly Hillbillies. But that is what's happening. It's funny that they said Tennessee, because I know so many people who have moved from Idaho and Tennessee right now seem to be the two places where people that I know in California recently are moving to.
Yeah, those are popular destinations for sure. Tennessee's a popular destination from people in Florida. That's where they go. They move down here and they're like, too hot. Let's go halfway. And they go to Tennessee.
Now, how far is Tennessee from Florida?
10 hours.
10 hours. Okay. That ain't bad.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
Yeah,
That's
you get to Nashville in 9. You know.
all right. I don't know if I'd want to live in Nashville. Outside of Nashville, but I don't know if I want to live in Nashville. Now, is Nashville liberal?
Yeah, all major cities are liberal. Nashville's about it's not too bad. But remember, every metropolitan area you get to is going to be more liberal than not.
It's not the worst
Nashville's
of the worst. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the worst. It's not
Sounds
the worst
reasonable.
place.
Sounds reasonable. All right, sir. Well, before we get ready to clock out, why don't you go ahead and give one more shout out to our sponsors?
I will. I shall. I also thank you from the intern here. Carol Brown was the woman that was killed in New Jersey back in 2015, stabbed by her boyfriend.
Yes. Thank you for sharing
Carol
that.
Brown. Could not remember the name. We apologize to her family. All right, let's talk to our good friends, or you should talk to our good friends at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you need a barrel for your AR platform, just go to hitmanindustries.net. You should get this by now. The California Republican Assembly, make sure you reach out to them. Maybe a little dollar bill. They could use that to help fight the fight behind the enemy lines. And if you got some of them dollars left over, you want some awesome tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Once again, those are our sponsors. Please make sure to visit them. Let them know that the guys over at the Rundown sent ya. Oh, by the way, California Republicans, if you are a California voter and you want to know who to vote for in the upcoming general election, the CRA endorsed candidates, there's a list. And you can go everything from governor and senator all the way down to dog catcher. So check it out. Find out who you should be voting for in the state of California. And those of you who don't live in the state of California, everybody else is voting in our election, so you might as well too.
Yep.
That would not be election fraud.
No. No.
And on that note, we're going to call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We shall return tomorrow on Hump Day. So, till then.
Hump Day.